first starts with an old man who, over the course of his life, put together one of the largest private Star Wars Lego collections on the planet. But unfortunately he got sick, and medical treatment in America isn't cheap, so he made the difficult decision to sell the entire collection. To do that, he turned to a company called Bricks and Minifigs. They're a retail franchise that expanded across the country by taking in collections on consignment. They sell collections through their stores and keep a small cut. And for a while it worked. The man's collection was moving, money was coming in, but then the Bricks and Minifigs store sold to new ownership and the payments stopped. Not because the inventory stopped selling. The Legos were still going out the door publicly. Someone was still collecting the money on the collection, but it just wasn't making its way back to the old man anymore. So the man tries to work with the new Bricks and Minifigs store, only for Bricks and Minifigs to allegedly threaten him, saying, "If you keep trying to work with us, we will send endless lawsuits after you." Now into Reckless Ben. If you don't know who that is, Reckless Ben is a YouTuber who built his following exposing McCamey Manor, a haunted attraction in the US that was, in practice, a real torture house. Operating in plain sight, Ben documented it, published it, and the videos took off. That's essentially what he does. Find situations that feel wrong and puts a camera on them. So when this story found its way to him, he did exactly what you would expect. He made a video, an hour-long video, and it went viral. Within days, normal people and the entire LEGO community all had eyes on this situation for the first time. But what their eyes were on the most were the lawsuits, the use of the law, and the one thing that stopped people cold was the police raided Reckless Ben's house, not for drugs, not for weapons, not for anything you typically associate with a police raid, for Legos that weren't even there. And Ben isn't just calling it excessive, he's alleging the whole thing was done illegally, that the raid itself had no legal foundation, and that they illegally blocked him from receiving applicable body cam footage from the incident. The footage that would show exactly what happened, exactly how it went down. This wasn't a business dispute anymore. This was the law being used as a weapon. And you may ask, why was the law so involved with a civil matter? And to actually understand why, you need to understand where the story takes place. Utah. Here's what most people don't know. Utah wasn't just settled by Mormons, it was built by them. From absolute nothing, out of pure desperation. By the mid-1800s, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints kept getting expelled from everywhere it tried to exist. So in 1847, tens of thousands of Mormon pioneers crossed the Rocky Mountains into land that wasn't even part of the United States yet, and built their own society. Today, Utah is still majority Latter-day Saint. In many rural counties, the number hits 90%. The church doesn't just influence life here, it structures it. You sit down in private, one-on-one worthiness interview with church leadership where your compliance with doctrines, your finances, your personal conduct, all of it gets evaluated routinely. It's not just a religion operating inside of a state, it's a state operating inside of a religion. And that is the world where this story unfolds. With that level of religious connection, when this story hit, it didn't just spread, it detonated. Utah went wild. The backlash was so intense, so immediate, and so loud that the police department responsible for the alleged swatting felt like they had no choice but to respond publicly. They put out a statement and tried to get ahead of it, tried to explain themselves and cool things down, but it didn't work because Reckless Ben just made another video. And this one was specifically about them and their statement. He went through it, addressed it directly, and by the time he was done, the response hadn't just failed to help them, it had made things worse. What was supposed to be damage control became more fuel, more content, more attention on exactly the thing they were trying to bury. But that was just the beginning of the legal chaos, because Bricks and Minifigs was watching all of this happen in real time. The backlash they were receiving was, by any measure, insane. Every day the story stayed alive was another day of damage, so they made a move. They sued Reckless Ben for his video. Bricks and Minifigs went after his Patreon first. They sent a legal notice demanding the platform remove Reckless Ben's content and take down his account entirely. Patreon was how he funded his work. Take that away, and you're not just silencing him, you're cutting off the money that lets him operate at all. And then something happened that nobody saw coming. The CEO of Patreon responded publicly, on camera.
My name is Jack Conti, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Patreon. On May 29th, Patreon received an official takedown request filed by Bricks and Minifigs for media and accounts related to Reckless Ben and an ongoing dispute regarding a local Lego consignment issue. This is the verified complaint with exhibits. This is the request for immediate content removal pursuant to temporary restraining order. And this is the motion for the temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction. So after an extensive review and investigation by Patreon's trust and safety team, we have in fact unfortunately determined that Bricks and Minifigs can stuff it. We're keeping Ben's page up. And if Bricks and Minifigs doesn't like that, they can sue us. Patreon out.
But even that wasn't enough to stop them, because Bricks and Minifig had one more move. They went to the courts and they got a gag order on Reckless Ben. Not a lawsuit, not a takedown request that someone could refuse. Reckless Ben was now banned from speaking about this publicly, banned from posting, banned from continuing his investigation on camera. The guy who had blown this entire thing open, who had taken a story that nobody knew about and put in front of millions of people, was now publicly prohibited from saying another word about it. Silenced, not by losing, not because he was wrong, but because the other side had enough money and enough lawyers to make speaking the truth more legally dangerous than staying quiet. And the internet is watching to find out what happens next.